So let's continue with the 20th chapter of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. They have arrived at the castle that Sandy talked about, and it's a pig pen. The ogres are just swineherds, and our narrator has to kind of play along with her and go, okay, they're ogres. I suppose I'll take them on, and we'll pick up from there. Thanks, oh sweet my lord. Thou talkest like an angel, and I know that thou wilt deliver them, for that thou art minded to great deeds, and art as strong a knight as your hands, and as brave to will and to do as any that is on live. I will not leave a princess in a sty, Sandy. Are those three yonder that to my disordered eyes are starveling swineherds? The ogres? Are they changed also? It is most wonderful. Now am I fearful, for how canst thou strike with sure aim, when 5 of their 9 cubits of stature are to thee invisible? Ah, go warily, fair sir. This is a mightier emprise than I wend. You be easy, Sandy. All I need to know is how much of an ogre is invisible. Then I know how to locate his vitals. Don't you be afraid. I will make short work of these bunco steerers. Stay where you are. I left Sandy kneeling there, corpse-faced but plucky and hopeful, and rode down to the pigsty and struck up a trade with the swineherds. I won their gratitude by buying out all the hogs at a lump sum of 16 pennies, which was rather above latest quotations. I was just in time, for the church, the lord of the manor, and the rest of the tax-gatherers would have been along next day and swept off pretty much all of the stock, leaving the swineherds very short of hogs and Sandy out of princesses. But now the tax people could be paid in cash, and there would be a stake left besides. One of the men had 10 children, and he said that last year when a priest came, and his 10 pigs took the fattest for the tithes. And of his 10 pigs took the fattest for the one for tithes. The wife burst out upon him, and offered him a child, and said, Thou beast without bowels of mercy, why leave my child, yet rob me of the wherewithal to feed it? How curious! The same thing had happened in the Wales of my day, under the same old established church, which was supposed by many to have changed its nature when it changed its disguise. I sent the 3 men away, and then opened the sty gate and beckoned Sandy to come, which she did, and not leisurely, but with the rush of a prairie fire. And when I saw her fling herself upon those hogs, with tears of joy running down her cheeks, and strain them to her heart, and kiss them, and caress them, and call them reverently by grand princely names, I was ashamed of her, ashamed of the human race. We had to drive those hogs home 10 miles, and no ladies were ever more fickle-minded or contrary. They would stay in no road, no path. They broke out through the brush on all sides, and flowed away in all directions over rocks and hills and the roughest places they could find. And they must not be struck or roughly accosted. Sandy could not bear to see them treated in ways unbecoming their rank. The troublesomest old sow of the lot had to be called my lady and your highness like the rest. It is annoying and difficult to scour around after hogs in armor. There was one small countess with an iron ring in her snout and hardly any hair on her back. That was the devil for perversity. She gave me a race of an hour over all sorts of country, and then we were right where we started from, having made not a rod of real progress. I seized her at last by the tail and brought her along squealing. When I overtook Sandy, she was horrified, and said it was in the last degree indelicate to drag a countess by her train. We got the hogs home just at dark, most of them. The princess, Nerovins de Morganoa, was missing, and 2 of her ladies-in-waiting, namely Miss Angela Bohun and Demoiselle Elaine Countermains, the former of these 2 being a young black sow with a white star on her forehead, and the latter a brown one with thin legs and a slight limp in the forward shank on the starboard side. A couple of the tryingest blisters to drive that I ever saw. Also among the missing were several mere baronesses, and I wanted them to stay missing, but no, all that sausage meat had to be found, So servants were sent out with torches to scour the woods and hills to that end. Of course, the whole drove was housed in the house, and great guns, well, I never saw anything like it, nor ever heard anything like it, never smelt any like it. It was an insurrection in a gasometer. And that is the end of chapter 20.